Worldwide headquarters of Big Play, only steps away from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome into Greenie Sports Cards Live, presented by the Big Play Collectibles Network, the world's original multi-stream broadcast for the hobby, fresh off the 46th Annual National Sports Collectors Convention in Rosemont, Illinois. This is episode number 127. Our recap and review of the National will include a post-event conversation with NSCC media correspondent, special correspondent Mac Gambill of Mac Card Collection. Greenie will take us around the country for his top collectibles shows to attend this week, and our resident insider, Joe Wysmierski from Phoenix Sports Cards, will join us for his perspective on the hobby and all that he saw this week and preceding weeks, coming off of two huge events for the hobby, with Fanatics Fest taking place in the Javits Center in New York just under a month ago, and then the 46th National in Rosemont. Since many of the headlines this week came directly out of the National, we will blend the news with our extended recap and review of the 46th Annual National Sports Collectors Convention. Let's take a look at days 1 through 5. Well, let's get into all of the big news coming out of the National Sports Collectors Convention this week. And for our world, Greenie, the biggest news this week was that Big Play Collectibles Network was tapped to open and close the Mike Burkus Memorial main stage at the National. It was a very exciting time for us on behalf of BCN and the NSCC. I was able to proudly open the 46th National at 1 p.m. with a presentation entitled First Time, Long Time, directed for those who were attending the show for their very first time, or if you had been there many, many times before, literally and figuratively setting the stage for all the week's activities to come. Greenie Sports Cards Live was then joined by a collaborative interview session with Ryan Alford and Bella Schaefer of Collector Nation. Together, we spoke with Ty Wilson of Chasing Cardboard, Mike Baker of Mike Baker Authenticated, probably the world's celebrity grader by all estimation, Brian Ludden, CEO of Ludex, and Tyler Teapot Nethercott of Sport Card Investor and Cards HQ. On Sunday, August 2nd, BCN wrapped up the National with another impressive panel session of guests, including Alex Tressler, a.k.a. Army ATC 22. He was a special media correspondent at the National. Andy Jones of Ship My Cards joined us. Barry Mizell, president of My Gray. Thomas Fisher of Gemini Sports Cards and a newly elected NSCC board member. Our congratulations goes out to Thomas for his election. Danny Nelson and Brian Thiessen-Hewson. That's why Brian just goes by Brian of Black Gold. Brian Thiessen-Hewson, owner of Black Gold Sports Cards, discussed their newest teammate and breakout star of the National, Bart, the autonomous robot. And then Greenie joined me for the last few minutes of our session to wrap the event. Greenie, we're going to pause here and allow you to reflect on that moment. What are your initial thoughts of the National? We opened and closed the show, and a lot happened in between.
Right. It's amazing how quickly a week goes. You know, one day you're unloading your cart full of cards, and the next day you're packing them up. So it seems. Obviously, there's a week in between, but man, what a blur! What an amazing week. Being able to be on that stage, to open and close was terrific. We had some great conversations there, and then all throughout the entire week. Obviously, the buying and selling of cards is what we do first and foremost, but the people that we got to talk to and hang out, and people that came by our booth all week long, it really was amazing.
Greenie, it was such a blur that I forgot to properly introduce you to your own show. Of course, this is Steve Greenberg, a.k.a. Greenie, the namesake of Greenie Sports Cards. It's all over there. And what a tremendous experience, Greenie. You had a team of people out there. We had a team of people with Greenie and Big Play Collectibles Network. Haley was out there with us, our producer extraordinaire, of course, and Drew Donovan with the camera and the mics, and Adam and Mike, of course, helping out in the booth. It really takes a village, not just to produce that event, but all the booths within the event themselves.
Yeah, no question. We had a tremendous location. We'll be in the same spot next year, booth 1338 for the third year in a row. Our friends at Gemini are right, caddy corner to us. JD Heckathorn is right across from us, and then PSA is right there. So it's very easy to find us there on the floor. And, man, the amount of traffic that comes through there, again, the buying and selling, great, but the amount of people that we get to talk to that come by, whether they're card show celebrities or they're athletes or, just other vendors that walk by because of the location. So, just again, amazing. We don't take it for granted. That's the 20th roughly, national that I have done, and man, it gets better every single year. And kudos to JBJ and the whole board. We spoke to them 2 weeks ago now, right before the show, and went over a lot of things with them, and it lived up to all the expectations, right? It was just absolutely terrific from open to close.
It was, and we're going to get into a lot of the details on that, and we'll welcome special media correspondent Mac Gambill a little bit later in the show, and he'll give us his inside perspective on running around there for 5 days of the show, plus the preceding, the move-in. Before we go much further, Green, I definitely want to not only shout out, acknowledge JBJ, the board, but also Shane Wynn and Christy Ayala, who gave us the opportunity to get up on stage and entrusted us with the programming sessions, and just a great experience. We appreciate that on behalf of the Big Play Collectibles Network. So more to come on the show with Mac, more to come with the headlines. We'll also welcome Joe Wysmierski from out west, Phoenix Sports Cards. He'll join us, but now let's take a look at the numbers of of the NSCC this year because they are staggering. 500,000 square feet of continuous show floor, over 600 dealers across 5 days. It is officially the largest show in the 46-year history of the National Sports Collectors Convention. Attendance numbers are not out officially, but it was certainly well over six figures. They probably eclipsed the 150,000 mark that some prognosticators were looking at ahead of the show. And what that tells me is within a month time frame between New York Fanatics Fest and the National, well over 300,000 people plus in two different cities in two major events for the hobby. So VIP demand backed that up. The basic VIP package, the all-access VIP, and the 5-day early entry pass all sold out well ahead of the show. And this year's National debuted a brand new international pavilion upstairs in Hall G with dealers from the United Kingdom, Germany, Croatia, Hungary, China, Hong Kong, France, and Italy, all setting up for the very first time. And many of those focused on soccer and F1 racing cards. That was a show within a show, Greenie. We commented that on a couple of occasions. Had the opportunity. We were all the way at the back end of the show at one point, what would be considered the furthest point from the entrance of the National, and that felt like a large card show in and of itself.
Absolutely, yeah. Every point in that room was filled with people. And if you go in the lobby of Rosemont, you go to the right or the left, but there were other doors by the Starbucks. You could go upstairs. So there was definitely different entrance points to the show. So for people to say that, but like in the back corners, it was packed. I know that I have a friend really close to the back of the show, and the amount of cards that he bought that walked through, and then the amount of stuff that they sold. So, I mean, it was terrific no matter where you were in the show. Chaz Kaplan asked us, what was our favorite moments of the show. He commented just now. I made a post, I think it was yesterday. My favorite moment didn't have anything to do with buying or selling cards, but one of our student athletes, Lainey Stark, who has an NIL card with us, happened to be at the booth, and there was a little girl there, and I was able to give her a card, and she was able to take a picture with Lainey, and it was pretty interesting and pretty moving, not to say the least.
Yeah, pretty incredible stuff. My favorite part is really the relationships of the show, getting to see people that you don't necessarily see every day, maybe once a year, if that, and just running into them, even briefly for a quick handshake or quick hello is pretty cool because everybody's there in the same spirit. What is also really cool, Greenie, we talked about being in the very back corner of the show. At the very opposite corner of the show is the TriStar Autograph Pavilion, and let's take a look at the celebrity appearances this last week.
We're here to see get Sammy Sosa today. Got to meet Lynn Swann. Go Cubs. You can see it popping off here. Excited. Got Robert Gronkowski. Gonna try to headbutt him maybe.
I think I got about 23 signatures on the bat. Yeah, this is coming along pretty nice. Got Cal Ripken Jr., Frank Thomas, Johnny Bench, all kinds of Hall of Fame players. Today I'm getting Jim Rice, Jim Thome, and Mike Schmidt.
If you spend any time in TriStar's Autograph Pavilion this week, you already know this was one for the record books. 167 total signers. 43 of them were signing for their very first time at the National. 35 Baseball Hall of Famers, 60 Pro Football Hall of Famers, 9 Super Bowl MVPs, 10 Basketball Hall of Famers, and by week's end, an estimated 75,000 autographs were signed for collectors. 15 years ago, 80 signers in one show was considered huge. Last week, that was less than half the lineup. And a few of those signers came straight from Cooperstown. Jeff Kent and Andrew Jones were inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame along with Carlos Beltran. just 3 days before the National opened, and Jones was right there signing for fans 4 days later. Greenie, plenty of celebrities on hand for that experience.
I did see a video of David Ortiz signing that 500 home run ball that Jeff Rosenberg told us about last week or 2 weeks ago. So that was really cool to see that video.
Yeah, it's almost, there's almost too much stuff that goes on. You can't keep up with it all. You can't even, there's parts of the show I didn't even visit in 5 days. But there was plenty of buying and selling going on, and even trading all across the event. Let's take a look at some of the things that were purchased by fans and collectors at the show.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I collect mostly baseball cards, especially these hot dog cards. I collect them because I think that they're fun, and I think collecting should be fun, and we should collect silly things.
My name's Carson. This is the PSA 8 LA De La Cruz bat knob auto. This is such a sick card, out of 5 also. We're Reds fans and LA collectors, so definitely a must-have in the collection.
Well, I'm Doak Ewing of Rare Sports Films Incorporated. This is a special card. This is made by a California company for the movie called The Slugger's Wife. And this is Michael O'Keefe, the actor who was in the movie, but they made 150 baseball cards, and I have one of the very few that remains.
A couple of our favorite cards that we've gotten so far. We have a rookie 2023 Topps Finest Masters Victor Wembanyama refractor out of 50. And then we also picked up, it was a 2017 Panini encased Kobe Bryant autograph card, game used patch, number to 49. Those are our 2 favorites that we've gotten so far at the show.
My favorite thing I picked up this weekend is this Con Cosmic Chrome Sun. I'm a huge fan. Go Con.
My name's Jonathan here. We have a Charlie Condon True Black number to 10 PSA 10 Auto 10. Really big on this guy. Huge prospect for the Rockies. My favorite one that we have in our hands right now at the show. Appreciate you guys.
Activations were aplenty on the floor as well, and some really cool stuff could be seen across the floors, particularly Arena Club. Let's take a look at their activation.
We are over in the Arena Club booth over by the corporate pavilion at the 46th Annual National Sports Collectors Convention, and I'm here with Molly from Arena Club. Molly, tell us what's going on in your booth there today.
So what we have going on this end of our booth today is you can come over and make your own customizable card. Basically, we have 5 different sports, 2 poses per sport. Just download our app, get in the queue. It takes about 5 minutes for them to take your photo. They'll print it out, put it in a little custom card holder for you, into a sleeve that you can wear on a lanyard around the show. It's actually quite fun. Everybody's loving it. Just put your face right in there.
Thank you.
And here it is, Greenie, the one-of-one Jeremy Levine Arena Club card. Very cool stuff.
Haley got one too, I saw.
We'll have to go back and get you one.
Next year. You know, I'm not upset that I didn't leave the booth at all. It was really busy. I do regret not being able to walk around quite as much as in years past. But, I mean, again, we were there for buying and selling. That is our main focus. And, I mean, it was, again, nonstop, open to close. So I did get a chance to walk around a little bit and just kind of take in some of the middle corporate area and some of the amazing displays that Golden inherited and some of the other auction houses had. So didn't have time to stop. I did see the Arena Club, and I saw that where they were doing that. So next year, or maybe we'll just bring them to one of our shows.
Yeah, let's Arena Club, if you're watching, you're welcome to join us. You're invited to any one of the 40-plus shows that are on the Greenie Sports Cards calendar for 2027. Greenie, this was also the year that live programming took over the floor in earnest, and it wasn't just one platform. eBay debuted its biggest presence ever at the National, the eBay Arena, with more than 60 live streams over 5 days. Rob Gronkowski premiered his new series there, Gronk Geeks Out, ripping packs on eBay Live Saturday. He pulled a Tom Brady rookie autograph that creators could think. They think it could be worth up to $200,000.
I mean, it's... For a 6th-round draft pick, I guess that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Rob's reaction was, that's absurd. That doesn't happen. But really cool stuff. We saw Primetime Sports and Entertainment. Framing was there as well. Joe and Tom Brode whooping it up on stage and having a great time and moving lots of stuff through eBay.
Our friends at Key Cards were up on the stage moving a lot of cards.
Yeah, they were. What a cool setup that arena was. And then not far away from that, you had Whatnot Breakers Pavilion. There was over 55,000 square feet of live case breaks. Now in its third year, it kept Whatnot streamers and independent dealers going nonstop live streaming in that pavilion all week long. Greenie, there's some consternation about the live breaks and how much space that's taking up. I did hear that potentially those pavilions are moving upstairs next year and leaving the main floor will be for open back up for dealers. So there's about 55,000 square feet of space that could open up for dealers, and then those that want to see the live streaming can go take part in that upstairs.
What that tells you, because I see some of the posts and some of the comments. We all see those on different social media platforms that this building's not big enough. It's plenty big.
It's 2.5 million
if we're just
square
moving
feet.
50,000 square feet from A to B, that building is tremendously huge.
It is. That's a whole other conversation about what cities and what venues and what amenities can actually host the National. Rosemont is at the top of that list for infrastructure with size and accessibility and hotels. And I'm certainly open to the conversation and hearing out what other venues and cities might be in the mix. But the reality is this show, and Joe Drylick told us that 2 weeks before the event, what used to be a sail ship is now a battleship, and trying to turn this thing and move it and reorganize it. Detroit's going to have their hands full from a planning standpoint, and I have all the confidence that they'll pull it off, but we're going to have to get used to another city and a new layout, and then beyond that, the vote will take place next year, presumably for venues beyond. It'll go to Detroit and then back to Chicago. It's in Chicago next year, then Detroit, then back to Chicago. The year after that, they'll be voting on a location.
Sure, and those guys do their due diligence. I mean, they make trips all over the country to venues, and it's just not just the venues, right? It's the infrastructure around there. It's the hotels, it's the airports. To get how many athletes you just said were there, they need to have direct flights in and out, right? So
Right.
You can't go somewhere where an athlete's going to have to take 3 flights to get there, and and vendors alike or customers alike. You want direct in and out access. You want hotels there. You want the restaurants. So there's a few places to check the box.
At this point, there are a few. I'm going to want to get to our resident hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski, here very soon, because then we'll be up against it with Mac. So we'll kind of blow through the rest of these stories here. Trade nights have become huge. They started informally back in 2016, and now they've taken on a life of their own. Over 50,000 square feet there as well with the trade nights. You had official backing by CGC, My Gray, Pristine, Walmart, Zion, the Cubs, and others. Really just taking some ownership of this. We're going to segue to the brief headlines for this week and bring on Joe. But before that, we do that, we also want to run Right Place, Right Time video, Haley, with Logan Paul, who fought the autonomous robot on day one of the National. All right, really cool stuff on that. We'll have more to come with Black Gold, with Danny and Brian that we got to talk to on the last day about their experience with Bart the robot. But let's get into the headlines that had the whole hobby talking this week. A Shohei Ohtani 101 Gold Logo Man card was pulled from a pack just days before the National. It sold for $11 million, making it the third highest sports card sale of all time. Meanwhile, a different kind of story broke just before the show opened. Veteran autograph authenticator Steve Grab publicly disputed PSA's certification of what was billed as one of the earliest known Mickey Mantle autographs. PSA is standing by its call, and that story is still playing out. Two big business moves this week. Golden became the Los Angeles Lakers' official auction house sponsor, and Upper Deck confirmed a new extension of its exclusive Michael Jordan rights, a partnership now in its 35th year. And with that, let's get to our hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski, the only man who can walk past a showcase and make every card feel like it's being scouted. If there's a great card within 200 yards, Joe doesn't have to go to it. The card will come to him. It voluntarily reveals itself. Please welcome the desert-dwelling Sultan of Slabs, the Commissioner of Chaos, our friend, Headband, Joe Wysmierski.
Thanks again for having me. It is a poor air quality day out here in the valley, so keep your kids inside. It's a desert day. We don't have snow days. We have heat days, so it's a desert day.
So listen, from, I'll say 2,000 miles away, I don't know exactly the mileage from O'Hare to Phoenix, but give us kind of the bird's eye view of your take of the National. You saw a lot of videos. You saw a lot of posts. I know that, we spoke a little bit, and I know that you spoke to some other people. So kind of give us your bird's eye view of what the National was like as kind of a watcher from afar.
Yeah, it really sucks to say this, honestly, because you guys know I hate card shows, but I was experiencing the worst FOMO after being there last year and not making the opportunity, taking the opportunity this year to get out there. Dude, it looked like a great time for people in the industry, a great time for people who are collectors, a great time for people who are just new and don't know what's going on. Really mark this down as a business idea. What is it? August 4th. We have some sort of like VR situation next year where you have someone who scouts the entire floor, can look through the cards, all that kind of stuff, give you that personal experience. Chair people from the National, hit me up with the idea. I can walk you through, give you my business plan. But I think that needs to happen. People who cannot be there in person. It takes you back to the show Arrested Development, right? He had a surrogate who was there for him. Maybe you could hire a surrogate to be able to walk around and look at and even negotiate on your behalf. I think that would be great.
Well, there was one autonomous robot there this year, Joe. It would not shock me if there are multiple robots next year, and perhaps they give you the VR perspective.
Again, we talked about this in the weeks leading up. There's plenty of space for a Fanatics Fest, plenty of space for a National. They are not even close to the same experience for people. So it's really good, and it was great to sit back and be able to consume all the content that I did for both of these events. But again, the National, you had all the characters were out and about, and that was fantastic. And the people that I follow, you have people doing goodwill. You have people that are there to thrive with their business. But the one negative thing that I will tell you that is also a positive of the hobby is the amount of people that said it was really tough to buy. Going up to showcases, a lot of people were looking for top dollar, and that's just where we are right now with the climate of the hobby. Is everyone's interested. If you're looking for Kobe's, if you're looking for Jordan, Ohtani, the greats, you're going to pay through the nose for it. That's just what's going to happen.
I mean, it's all perspective. It just depends. I know that there was a lot of people that bought very well. Just depends what you're looking for, right? I mean, is it hard to buy and flip right away? Okay, sure. But if you're looking to fill your lists of cards, right? It's all in one location. You're in one room. You're not going to 10 different card shows and gas in your car. I mean, there's prices to pay for that. And I haven't heard. Please,
Steve, please don't be a fence rider here. What Steve is trying to say is if you are thoroughly experienced, the value boxes, the insert boxes, you can buy great from those.
Sure.
But if you're looking for those big ticket guys like Steve, nobody was getting great buys on big time Hall of Famers. Like the stuff was expensive. You were seeing 100% plus of comps.
Where do you get great buys on those?
Exactly. Where do you? I mean, you're not going to get it at the National when everyone's trying to showcase off their great collections and what they've accumulated throughout the year. But Steve, I'm going to tell you, and this isn't just a shameless plug for you, but anyone who stopped by your insert boxes, I guarantee bought very well because you always have great quality in there. that carries on. So you have to be educated though, Steve. That's the thing. At the end of the day, if you're not an educated buyer and you're new to the space, all you know is what is popular and what shows up on your feed. And unfortunately, that's not everything that carries through on the hobby here.
Sure. There were plenty of deals though to be had. So, you just got to search around.
We'll agree to disagree.
It's fine.
But Steve, did you see the video that David Adams put out where they were giving the last person in line a free value box of Topps Chrome?
I did. Tell me about that.
Roughly 1 mile from the entrance, they walked and they had to shoot the video. The video, I think, was almost, even fast forwarding through it, it was almost 2 minutes long to get to the end of the line, just to give 2 young collectors a box to open. So that's wild. That was Wednesday. Just a wild event.
People wanted to come. I mean, it is amazing. And here's the thing too, that might be a mile long, but from all accounts, people got in quickly. It's not like they were waiting days to get in. They moved that line pretty quickly, getting people in and out of that show.
They did, and kudos to show management because they did open the doors a little bit early. They were also very cognizant on Saturday. There was an impending storm and rain, and they got people in, and but the fashion mall is a mile and a half away from Donald E. Stevens, and there were people lined up all the way past there.
That's insane. I mean, the other question that no one was asking or they even covered, and I brought this up prior to you guys leaving to the greatest show, was the fudge lady there?
I didn't know. Guess not.
I think
I don't know.
Coincidentally, Garage Beer took her place.
Oh yeah, Garage Beer was there.
Okay.
Garage
that's
Beer
fair.
Was there.
I'm glad we got that situated. The other question that I have is the media stunt that Fanatics pulled with the strike outside, right?
The no fees.
No more fees, right? My take on that, and it's a hot one, is if you are selling items, you're getting paid with no fees, you now have fan cash to use. Are we going to start to see some inflated prices on some certain items? Because it's almost like buying with store credit. You're getting a percentage more, so you feel a little bit more comfortable to spend a little bit more to get what you want. Is that going to drive comps, or do you see that driving comps, especially on the Fanatics Collect side?
So I don't know the answer to that, but eBay used to do that with eBay bucks, right? You used to get eBay bucks. And I don't know that inflated cards. So people are going to still pay what they want to pay for cards.
That's fair. They just might have more of a runway to pay now, since they're not eating up, they're not having to pay those fees, right? But it's just something to think about. Right? We were discussing this in the shop today. Little things to think about. The other thing that I know you guys brought it up and you said they did great, but dude, I'm going to tell you right now, Drew and Haley definitely superstars and champions of this past week. The ability to get content out there in such a quick fashion. That's the other thing that made me feel that ultimately is why I had the FOMO, right? Is they were able to get that content. It was able to be consumed quickly. It wasn't a long drawn out video. The music choices were fantastic behind the video. That's number one. Number two, just the editing and the speed of getting it to the consumer was fantastic. So the behind the scenes work and what they did and how they were able to step up and help it when needed too. I just wanted to make sure that we gave them that moment here.
Haley, Drew, and Jeremy had to work the booth a little bit.
Yeah.
It was that busy. It was great.
Yeah. Joe, I have a photo, a selfie of one point. Greenie had to step out to talk to somebody, and Mike was out of the booth. The three people who knew nothing about cards were left to manage the space. And we survived.
Fantastic.
We survived.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was terrific all around. Again, we nothing but great things, on our end as vendors and as even customers as when we walked around a little bit and bought some stuff. So very great show. PSA is what they are. We'll talk about that on another show.
I did snap what those charges were because I do want to have that conversation later on.
Okay.
The last thing I do need to ask, inquiring minds do need to know, Steve, the amount of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that were consumed during the week. We'd love to hear you. Go
So,
ahead.
not as many as you would think because we didn't have time to eat. Now, we did go through 2 loaves of bread. So, all of it was consumed. We didn't have an opportunity to buy it. I'm telling you, Joe, when they opened those doors early, I think it was like 8:35 or 8:45 one of the 2 days. There was I think it was Friday. I went to the restroom one time. That's it. I never left the booth. And I stayed hydrated. I had my Greenie thing, but I didn't really eat. I ate
Maybe
dinner.
Greenie will be getting some sponsorship bucks from the gluten lobby in the future. So
Gluten lobby, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, lots more to come. We'll catch up again next week. We'll talk about PSA. We'll talk about the show, talk about what's going on in your world. We're going to get to Mac here real soon. Let everybody know where they can find you out west and online.
hey, you can find us at PHX Sports Cards on Instagram. You can also stop at 59th and Thunderbird in Glendale, Arizona. Stop in, see Chris, myself, Phil. We'd love to chat with you and just talk cards and come in and hang out. Maybe we can watch the Tigers overtake the White Sox and get first place and watch the D-backs humbly take second place behind the Dodgers.
Whatever.
All right, Joe, we appreciate it. That's our hobby insider, resident hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski out at Phoenix Sports Cards. Greenie, real quick, before we move on, we called out these the two pieces behind me here. We got an Ohio State Jack Sawyer scoop and score and a legendary Jim Brown autograph. Those are courtesy of Hall of Framers, Northeast Ohio's premier custom framing studio. They specialize in museum-quality sports displays, shadow boxes, jerseys, memorabilia, and one-of-a-kind pieces that make your collection look its absolute best. If you want your collectibles framed the right way, visit Hall of Framers at HOFCLE.com or stop by the shop in downtown Berea, just up the road from Cleveland Browns headquarters. And with that, Greenie, it is time for Card Show Live.
We can do that. It's not National Week. It is post-National Week, but the shows go on. And our friend James Faree, who we had a chance to actually meet in person at the National, walking around, terrific guy, Sports Wax Promotions, has the Myrtle Beach show this weekend, August 7th through 8th, the John Rhodes Sports Center. So hundreds of tables. I think they do that with the Wilder Side guys, and I know Alex Army ATC will be down there. So check that out, the Myrtle Beach Card Show, Sports Wax Promotions, August 7th and 8th. St. Louis, Missouri, Machinist Hall. Coach Ron Esses does this show, 110 tables, Saturday, August 8th, St. Louis, Missouri, for the Machinist Hall show. From there, we have the Hollywood Casino show in Grantville, Pennsylvania, Saturday, August 8th. 200 tables. Adam Ramiro does this show. Plenty of stuff goes on there. The Hollywood Casino. Maybe you can get a buffet, too, while you're there. But plenty of cards at the Hollywood Casino, 200 tables. The Annandale, Virginia Fire Hall. That is our small show of the week. 30 tables by Nick in Virginia there. Sunday. That is a Sunday-only show, August the 9th, the Annandale, Virginia Fire Hall. And then our friend Daniel Steelman has a huge show this weekend in Hoover, Alabama, the Flip Trade Show, August 8th and 9th, 500 tables. Imagine that. Hoover, Alabama, the Flip Trade Show. You can check out their website. Plenty of shows that Daniel Steelman runs down that way. So Card Show Live is still going strong. There are shows going every week. Make sure you support your local shows. And even support the shows that you can drive to a couple hours and find one of those treasures there.
Greenie, our next guest is one of the most trusted media voices in the hobby. Mac Gambill, founder of Mac Card Connection, has built a reputation for clear, thoughtful coverage of sports and the sports card marketplace, from collector education to real-time reporting at major shows. This past week, Mac served as an official media correspondent at the 46th Annual National Sports Collectors Convention, delivering on-the-floor insights, spotlighting key moments, and helping collectors everywhere stay connected to the biggest event in the hobby. And that With that, it is our pleasure to welcome in Mac Gambill.
Hey, how's it going?
Matt, how are you? We appreciate you taking the time. You have to be just as exhausted as everybody from a week on your feet running around at the National, but we appreciate you taking the time. We want to take a look back last week and pretty much talk about what was the greatest blur of the year so far, right?
Yeah, I have a hard time remembering specifics. It was just all a blur, but I had a good time. I remember that much.
So you and I are children of the 90s. We collect 90s cards. I know that you've been doing that for a long time. There was a huge resurgence. I know it's been happening for months and even a couple years, but the amount of that kind of stuff that I heard about on the show floor was pretty incredible. What kind of things did you see on the floor?
I feel like the secret's out on 90s cards. I feel like all of a sudden everyone had Jordans and Kobe's, and now what I thought was kind of my lane or my like niche, now every table had Jordans and Kobe's. Maybe it was just me though. I don't know. But I felt like there was a bit of a shift. Jordans and Kobe's now, or I felt like across the board, pricing, I think you all were talking about it earlier, pricing a bit steep across tables. You know, I get it. People have to pay for their table fees. But wow, I felt like the energy this year, just the magnitude of it just felt so much different than previous years. And yeah, I had to change my buying habits a little bit for sure, based on what was going on.
Mac, you were a part of an official team of 4 media correspondents. Of course, Alex Tressler, Army ATC. You had Samuel Evans, the principal sports card collector, and Kayla from Kayla Collects, along with you. Give everybody a little bit of perspective. When did you arrive in Rosemont? What was that? I know it was a blur, but what was kind of that initial foray? What was the goal going into the National for you for? And then by the end of it, did you check those boxes?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we got in on Tuesday. We've obviously been having some prep work over the past few weeks, kind of leading up to it. Getting, and we had worked with the National a little bit last year, and a handful of us have done some work with this group over the years in general. I think this year was a little bit different, where more structure, as we kind of have a better sense of kind of what's working and what's not. Like I said, last year we were involved in a little bit of smaller capacity, but it was one of those things where this year going in, I think we wanted to have a much more targeted approach of kind of where roles and responsibilities, kind of who was going to be focused on what. We had the social media team. We also have more traditional videographers that are a part of that team, and kind of better delineating who's going to be focused on what, whether it's covering card show, which for me personally, I kind of do what I consider more like down in the trenches type of content. I'm usually more on the show floor, doing more kind of vlog style or interview style content, picking up cards, whatever it may be. Videographers, for instance, maybe more kind of the TriStar area, looking to get interesting moments or engagements with some of the celebrities and the professional athletes that are there. So I think this year was just a better delineation of kind of roles and responsibilities, and making sure that we were kind of covering everything appropriately, because there's so much. It's such a massive show at this point. And, you'd be amazed how many people are in the background trying to make sure it all kind of goes as smoothly as possible.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. The many different dynamics, the TriStar Pavilion, the Burkus stage, the Whatnot Pavilion, the vendors, which are the biggest part of the show. Yeah. And you have the corporate floors, and then you have trade night. And there's probably something I'm missing too, but there are so many different, I'm just going to call them departments, right, at this show. Take us through like your favorite part. What was the favorite moment that you had there?
So my favorite part about the show in general is, for one, like I always know I'm going to find good cards while I'm there, but it's getting a chance to reconnect with all my hobby friends. So for me, it's trying to see as many of my hobby friends as possible, which means I'm usually running all over the place. I definitely think the trade nights and the VIP area are an interesting one, especially for those who are trying to really go into the National, trying to be doing a lot of flipping and kind of get deals. I think you're able to maybe do a little bit more damage in that area versus maybe on the show floor, unless you really have the patience to dig through bins, which I love digging through boxes of cards. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't have time this year as I was involved more on the media side. So I was kind of more relying on just things I saw in display cases as I was running by. But I think, to your point, there's so many different facets. The upstairs has really grown significantly the past couple of years. I think that's an area that really has blossomed, and more people seem to be paying attention to that and spending time up there, whether it was engaging with some of the brands that were up there, visiting some of the tables. I felt like this year had a very different feel altogether. I don't know if anybody else was kind of picking up on that too.
Yeah, I made the comment a couple times, and I think even on the show a week or so out, that my first national was in 2000 in Anaheim, and I've seen it in multiple cities along the way. Pre-COVID, there was kind of a reverential feel to it. It not quiet, but everybody, there was a lot more rifling through boxes and people looking for things. And I just remember kind of there's a hum to the show. And now, post-COVID, this thing has taken off like a rocket ship, and the energy and enthusiasm and the activations, it's on a whole other level that is indescribable unless you actually set foot in the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center.
Yeah, I remember even specifically, I think it was on Wednesday, being blown away by the crowd and talking to people saying it feels like a Saturday. And I was kind of worried what Saturday was actually going to feel like. But I think, Saturday, I think the weather was maybe the day that the weather wasn't great. But the energy those first few days was like no national I've ever seen.
What's the hardest part for all four of you as you shared responsibilities? What was the hardest part of the show to capture? Was it the scale, the energy, everything happening at one time? What made it challenging?
So it's funny because you would probably get different responses from the four of us. For me, I think sometimes the hardest is getting really solid card content because, there's celebrities and professional athletes running around. That's sometimes the easiest when you're in the proximity to capture that. But sometimes the hardest is really the card side. And what I mean by that is there's certainly transactions that can be captured, but I think going beyond that, capturing stories around cards. And I ended up bumping into a collector who just happened to buy his Grail card while I was standing next to him. And so moments like that are very, very difficult to kind of cultivate and identify and find. And so I look for different situations like that where a card or a collector may have a story. And that's always the ideal situation. We can kind of encounter things like that. So I'd say the card side is actually sometimes the trickiest, as difficult as that sounds, because the easy part is sometimes I'll do some content where I'm like do a lap around the room, like in my meta glasses, where I'm stopping at different tables, picking up cards. That's kind of the easy stuff. But it's really those kind of card or collector stories that I tend to find are the hardest, because you have to just throw yourself in the middle of the room, talk to a lot of people, and then eventually sometimes those stories kind of manifest.
Yeah, that's really cool. I know I heard a lot of different things like that too. One of the things that I've noticed too, because it's one of the things that I do, I think vendors plan all year long for their booth at the National. I focus on a lot of 90s inserts in our boxes that people dig through. I know our friend Thomas at Gemini Sports Cards, his 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 boxes. He started building them today for next year. So wow. It's a lot of vendors now are really planning to have their Super Bowl. We talk about that, but like this has really been the culmination of an entire year's process. This is our fiscal calendar. It starts today, right? And a year from now is when our year end is.
Was that a comment or is there?
I don't know what that was. I guess I was just talking.
A comment. I'll throw a question then. Mac, so two moments I'm looking for. Was there a moment out front on the show floor that makes you say, this is what makes the National different from every other event? And then maybe something behind the scenes that happened that you were blessed to be a part of by proximity in your position.
Yeah, great questions. It's funny. So much really happens. There were some neat moments I had a chance to capture. Like, for instance, we were doing various giveaways, and one giveaway, I was actually filming Kayla, and she was walking around the room. We were looking for someone to give a soccer box to, so we were looking for someone in a U.S. national team jersey. And it was funny because we ended up finding a person who had the jersey on. Kayla goes up to that person, and they turn around and they happen to say, I actually follow you. We did a deal together years ago. I've been following you for years. And it was neat to see that moment. It was a very organic moment of this person had done this deal with Kayla and had apparently had meant a lot to them. He had started following Kayla online and kind of had been a fan of her journey all along over the past handful of years. So you get to see moments like that that are really neat. And like I said, when I happen to just be standing next to the person getting his Grail card, I also happened to just start talking to one of the vendors as I was looking at his display case. And after a few minutes, I found out he happened to have one of the biggest LeBron James collections probably on the planet. Very unassuming, wasn't flashing cards that were massive by any means. And he just happened to show me pictures of his collection, just had this remarkable LeBron James collection. So it's moments like that, like I said, that really kind of manifest very organically. And it's really just from throwing yourself onto the show floor, having those points of interaction, those encounters. And I tend to find those things, it's hard to script, but those are the things that really kind of stand out and mean the most as you're kind of just networking with other collectors along the way.
Did you guys have a chance to just really take in like some moments for yourself, like walk around the corporate booths, check out the displays of the jerseys at the Heritage booth, or some of the cards, you know, at the other auction houses? Do you guys just take some time to just really enjoy that?
Yeah, it's funny. There's two pieces of content I usually do at shows that I do it selfishly, kind of partially for me, but I think partially for other people too, is I try to highlight just the most interesting things I find in the room. And so I did it this time kind of on two different sides. I did one that was card specific, then I did one that was actually not card related at all. I just said, hey, what are some interesting things in the room? Because I think I tend to find at shows like this, there are other interesting collectibles that maybe the average collector wouldn't realize would be at a show like this. And everything from, you know, there was the Hope Solo collection that one of the auction houses was auctioning off some of her things she had won from World Cups past. There was the Superman outfit from the 1978, I think Reeves outfit at the front, some great video games, things like that. So I like to do those pieces, like I said, both to show people what else you can encounter at a show like that, because I think it's probably more than you would expect, but it also does give me a chance to kind of put the camera away for a few minutes, do a lap, and really just appreciate what's there. Because, you know, for one, it's just the magnitude of it. I mean, I think for a lot of people, collecting can be a very personal thing. They may just be by themselves in their house with their cards. I distinctly remember the first national I went to, walking into the room, and it was kind of that light bulb went off, and I was like, wow, I don't think I realized how many people were out there like me and how many people were collecting. And so I think there's so much to that show. And I think that doing those couple pieces of content really helped me kind of, I think, for one, appreciate it, but also to kind of highlight it for those that maybe aren't there, or maybe are there and just didn't realize or didn't think to kind of pull away for the cards for a few minutes.
Mac, the first show post-COVID in Chicago, I thought, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know how Cleveland will top it. It came back to the IX Center in Cleveland. It was even crazier. Back to Chicago last year, it was nuts. Every year we go, where does this go? And this year was no exception. It's the biggest in the history of the 46-year history of the National. So I'll ask you, where does the National go from here?
It's a great question. I don't have any intel along those lines. I had the same question just as myself as I was leaving, because there's the amount of people that we now have who visit and attend the National. I haven't heard an exact figure from this year, but I didn't see a lot of free space in terms of where, places you could walk around or not be bumping into people. I don't know. The hobby continues to grow. More and more people are involved. I don't know how we get into larger spaces. I don't know if we eventually need to start thinking about breaking it up somehow. I have no idea, but I do think it's, we are entering a pretty interesting time where we are just experiencing such massive demand in the hobby and so many new people still coming in. I know post-COVID, we had a huge wave of people, but even now I feel like I'm meeting new people all the time that are just getting into the hobby. And so, there's obviously no shortage of shows. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting over the next 18 months, though, because it's the way it's going. I mean, you saw the lines, you saw what it was like walking up those aisles, and eventually we need more and more space. So,
Jeremy and I say this all the time. Nothing beats the face-to-face interactions, at a card show. And that's why, we don't see any shows really slowing down, especially the major ones, right? The national and the other ones, they're big regional shows. And, it's a year from now, the 47th national. If you were to take a crystal ball and look and see where this market is going to be like 12 months from now, do you see it correcting? Do you see it growing? What say you here?
Man, I would hope it softens a little bit so I can afford more 90s stuff. But it's, I think it has to slow down a little bit. And it seems like there's a significant concentration right now towards the GOATs. And I think there's going to be a little bit of a ripple effect where, I'm a good example. Jordan and Kobe are two people I do collect. I just haven't been able to buy as much of them recently. So I've shifted more towards Iverson and Penny, who are actually two of the main people I collect. So I think you're going to keep seeing maybe a ripple effect where people are going to look for the next tier of GOAT or next tier of kind of the stars from the respective leagues and themes. But yeah, I would hope it softens a little bit because, man, I'd love to do some more buying.
Mac, we've got about 2 minutes left here. We really appreciate your time. Let everybody know where you're off to next, where they can find you, and what's on your radar.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the middle of buying a house, so that's going to take me off the shows for probably the next month. But then I typically can be found either at the Philly show or the Chantilly show here in Northern Virginia. So I'm generally up there doing content around those two shows. So obviously there's plenty of local shows around me too, but yeah, I ultimately like kind of signing myself up for more experiences like that. But obviously the best way to stay in touch with me is through my Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, which is just Mac_card collection. But yeah, usually you'll see me running around at shows looking somewhat lost or looking like I'm chasing somebody down.
Mac, we appreciate it. You guys and gals with Kayla did a terrific job at the National. The content, it didn't stop all week long. I know that I followed plenty of it. So we appreciate everything you guys did for the National last week and look forward to seeing you at a show soon.
Yeah, I really, really appreciate it. It was great meeting you all, and thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. Thanks, Mac. Our thanks to Mac Gambill for joining us, NSCC correspondent, the national correspondent. Greenie, that's a question too. For many years in my involvement with the national, it was referred to as the national. NSCC, the acronym was frowned upon. I want to ask those guys or even the board at this point, what's the vibe? What do they want to be called? But either way, the 46th National Sports Collectors Convention just wrapped in Rosemont, Illinois. We're looking forward to the 47th. Our thanks to Mac. Our thanks to our resident hobby insider, Joe Wysmierski, for joining us. Our thanks to Haley on the board for all the work, not only tonight, but last week. And, of course, Drew as well. And, Greenie, our thanks to you for allowing us to do this every week. Our thanks to the Big Play Network. They haven't kicked us out of the studio yet. We still come back every Tuesday. Our thanks to the team there. And again, to the NSCC board, to JBJ Promotions, to Shane and Christy for all their work and the cast of thousands that it takes to pull off an event of that magnitude. Are there things that they can fix? Of course. I know Brian's list is up to over 70, probably 75.
Probably.
And that was on Wednesday, so he's probably well over 100 on things that they want to address and take care of, and they've shown a willingness and an aptitude to do that. So we're looking forward to next year. We're looking forward to seeing what the hobby brings all of us, particularly Greenie Sports Cards, and the 40-plus events that will take place over the next year. And Greenie, so with that, I'll say may the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, terrific show. We will be back in the same location next year, booth 1338. I promise you'll hear more about that over the next 12 months. Greenie Sports Cards will be in booth 1338, and we appreciate it. Again, like you said, everybody that worked really hard to put that show together is terrific, and we can't thank you enough. And we will continue to bring you some more content over the next couple shows from things that Haley and Drew and Jeremy captured at the National. So we